Daniel Jones named NFC Offensive Player of the Week today. Not Rookie of the Week, Player of the Week. 4 total touchdowns in his starting debut, and now this week, his home debut against Washington.
Yeah, I'm excited to run out there in front of Giants fans and play first game here. So that'll be fun. We had some good support down there in Tampa Bay, and certainly very appreciative of that. But it'll be fun to run out here.
And with Sanquon Barkley out, Daniel Jones won't be the only new starter for the G-men. Here is Kim Jones with that.
With Sanquon Barkley sidelined by that high ankle sprain, Wayne Gallman moves into the starting running back job for the New York Giants. His mindset? Gallman said Wednesday standing at his locker, "I finally get to get some touches." That's one way to look at it. Since joining the Giants, Sanquon has accounted for 77% of the Giants' rushing yards. On Wednesday, Evan Engram, Sterling Shepard, and rookie quarterback Daniel Jones all talked about the enormous loss Barkley is. But to a man, every one of them said this: next man up, and that they have confidence in Wayne.
Thank you, Kim. One more look at the sparkling stat line for the rookie QB and his dramatic last-second victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 2 passing touchdowns, but added the 2 rushing touchdowns, including the one that ended up being the game winner in a 1-point victory, and an 18-point come-from-behind win, the biggest for the G-men in over 20 years. And as we just heard from Kim Jones, he did a lot of that work without the best player on the field out for the second half. Sanquon was gone, so how is that going to impact this offense going forward?
Sanquon was gone for most of that game, but coming into that game, he was there, and Tampa Bay had to prepare for him. Now the Redskins do not have to prepare for Sanquon Barkley. He is gone, and I believe Daniel Jones is going to struggle in this game without Sanquon Barkley in the backfield. When Sanquon Barkley is in the backfield, you are going to see 8-man boxes. As you can see right here, you can count all these guys right here, 8 men in the box. This is a quarterback's best friend having a running back like this. With 8 men in the box, this is still what Sanquon Barkley can do. He's still going to get you yards. And when you have to prepare for a guy like this as a defense, it makes it tough. Again, the Dallas Cowboys, loaded box, 8 men in the box, they still cannot stop 26. 26 is not going to be in this ball game when they play against the Washington Redskins. So you know what that tells me? That they get to play a lot of coverage. You will not see 8 men in the box because there is no fear of a running game. And that means Daniel Jones is going to have to beat you with his arm. And I know everybody's looking like the Redskins defense. The Redskins defense has been on the field for 33 minutes a game. That's more than half a game. If you look at their first half stats, they got 5 sacks, they averaged 50 rushing yards and 170 yards. They play well in the first half.
When they're fresh.
Second half, we're tired. We've been on the field too long. The good thing about it is the Giants defense is not that good. So their offense will move the ball and keep that defense off the field. They'll come in fresh, and the young kid going to struggle in his first home game.
Okay, we'll see about that this weekend, but then help is on the way. Golden Tate, his suspension is over after next week. He'll make his Giants debut. Lindsay?
Russell Wilson quietly having a really good year this year for Seattle. 105 pass attempts without a pick. He is 8th in the league in passing. He's putting up the best numbers of his career. And he's facing a defense this week that is allowing 443 yards per game. Cardinals defense struggling this year, and their offense hasn't fared much better. 25th in the league in total yards, and this might be part of the reason why. Kyler Murray is not going deep, and when he does, he's not connecting. As you see here, 92 of his passing attempts have traveled fewer than 10 air yards. Just 39 have gone for more than that, and only 15 of those have connected. What that meant for Kyler on Sunday was a stat line that showed that he threw the ball 43 times, but only picked up 173 yards that way. You've been around this team a lot, Steve. Is this kind of dink and dunk what we should expect from them moving forward?
Yeah, this is really interesting because, we thought this was going to be the high-flying offense. And, Lindsay, keep in mind, this is when we thought the Cardinals were going to catch teams off guard. But so far, with even very little film on them, this offense has not worked. And when they drafted Kyler Murray, remember what General Manager Steve Keim said? He's like Russell Wilson. He is a dual threat. But as we're watching Kyler Murray here, he's running the ball because his receivers aren't getting open. And we're seeing because they're spreading teams out right here. Look at this. You got a 5-man line. Look at the pressure right here. You have a free runner. free runner slip. This is what they're going to have to count on to get yards out of him because the protection has been weak. Lindsey, he's been sacked 16 times this season already. You know why? He's throwing it. He's dropping back more than 50 times a game. It says he's got 137 attempts, but you know what? He's been sacked 16 times. That's a high number. They've got to run the ball. David Johnson, as we know, a good player. He has only rushed the ball 37 times this year. If you're going to create an illusion, you better have some illusionary optics, and that's a very good running back that you need to use.
David Johnson with just 37 yards on the ground last week, 14 the week before. Cardinals 0-2-1 on the season so far, looking for win number 1 on Sunday against the Seahawks, a 4:05 Eastern start. Browns fans did not disguise their displeasure Sunday night.
In Week 5, there is a possibility he plays in that game. We know that he is not going to get the contract extension that he wanted. The Chargers were clear on that before the season. But at the very least, Melvin Gordon will be back on the field soon, attempting to prove that he deserves a long-term extension, either from the Chargers or someone else. The main thing, Scott, is that one of the biggest holdouts is now over for the Chargers.
Well, absolutely. For a team that is 1-2 going into week number 4. Much more on this coming up later, including one of our analysts. You won't believe what he says Melvin Gordon's return means to the Chargers. Thank you, Ian. We'll get to that in just a bit. Now to that first game of week number 4. Philadelphia at Green Bay. And as of this moment, Philadelphia is in Green Bay, as you can tell by Nelson Aguilar's social media post. The Eagles kind of need a statement win here in the first month of the season, but Carson Wentz should have his hands full with that new and improved Packers D.
It's a good defense. It's good defense. They play fast. They play physical. Really talented front, and they do so many different things. It's got a similar structure to what we saw last week with the Lions defense. Just a lot more multiple. They mix it up really well. They bring a lot of different funky pressures. They drop 8. They do kind of everything. So on a short week to just really get in there and study everything that they do, and knowing that they have a talented defense. We're going to have to be on top of things and play fast.
Yeah, defense that's only given up 12 points per game, second best in the NFL. Let's go live to Lambeau Field, where it's going to go down tomorrow night. Stacey Dales is standing by right now. And Stacey, the Packers defense, meanwhile, has that full attention of the Eagles.
Yeah, Doug Peterson, the head coach, almost emphatic yesterday via conference call, Scott, in his praise for this defense. A lot of the same stuff we just heard from Carson Wentz. Just so multiple across the board. First down, second down, third down, different fronts, different coverages, different personnel. And it's all about disguising what they're doing, and they have seen fits for offensive linemen this season, running backs, quarterbacks, even the likes of veteran quarterbacks, the most recent being Joe Flacco, of course Kirk Cousins a couple of weeks ago. You see one thing, and it's the complete opposite. Film study has been paramount for these Eagles, Doug Peterson said this week, and I loved what Matt LaFleur, coach of these Packers, said. He said it's almost like the illusion of complexity a little bit, what his defensive coordinator Mike Pettin is doing. Our guys, a little easier for them, not so easy for the opposing offense. And Preston Smith, by the way, from this defense, he said, we love the energy that Mike Pettin has brought and that he trusts us to execute his scheme. And we are going to keep our eye on the other Smith as I throw it back to you guys, Scott. Zadarius Smith, he's got a bit of a knee issue this week. He's questionable heading into tomorrow.
Ooh, Zadarius Smith, massive for that defense so far. Definitely want to have him. Would also like to see more from their offensive playmakers, I bet. Aaron Rodgers saying earlier in the week they've got to wake up and start making plays. Tied for 23rd in the league in scoring so far, 27th in passing yards per game, and 24th in rushing. We've hardly seen Davante Adams yet, just 15 catches and no touchdowns. And as I welcome in Steve Wyche and James Jones to this conversation, I should tell you James Jones does not like what I just said about Davante.
No, not at all. But the main thing that jumps out of that board to me right there is 30th on third down. So all the stats that you read, how bad they are, they're not going to get better if you don't convert on third down, because that's the only way you extend drives. To convert on third down, get the ball to number 17, Davante Adams. He needs more targets. He's one of the most dynamic receivers in our game with one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in our game. They need to get this together. They need to get him the ball. Right here, you see him in the slot right here, over route. What they're doing in the offense, because they're tightening him down, giving him free releases. Then right here, we've been doing this for years. Release off the line of scrimmage. You don't win over the top. Look for the back shoulder, money ball. Then you put him in the slot on the left side. This is what he does best. Quick slant, ball in his hands, and give him a chance to get yak. But he needs more